For this holiday special, Sean and I will be discussing the 1990 made-for-TV film, A Mom for Christmas.
This is I Pierce the Toast. I'm Sean.
And I'm AJ. Let's make some toast.
Welcome back to I Pierce the Toast.
Or IPTT if you're feeling froggy.
AJ, we have been off for 2 months for
Oh
this
my
Christmas
goodness
special. Why are we a week late, AJ?
Well, here's what happened. I am going to blame it on people at work. People cannot cover their mouths, and I got a little bit of the COVID. The COVIDs.
Ah, the COVIDs.
Yeah, the COVIDs.
I like that, the COVIDs.
So technically, I would have been out of the quarantine stage, but I would have had to been masked up, and it wouldn't have been a good time. So
yeah, you would have been here like, it sounded like the fucking the parents in Charlie Brown.
Fucking Beaker from Muppets Christmas Carol.
So we do have to start off with some bad news.
Yes, we do. Yes,
we're going right into the Christmas season, and we got awful news. We lost Andre Braugher.
Yes,
a couple
we
weeks
did.
Back. Only 61 years old, which is awful. But for any of our Toasticles that don't know, Andre starred in Glory. He was in Primal Fear, City of Angels, Homicide, Life on the Street. But I think most people who are more recently familiar with film and TV are going to know him as the beloved hula hooping captain of the 9-9, Raymond Holt.
Yeah.
On Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Big loss. Andre Braugher was not only an amazing talent, but from all the interviews I've seen of him, just a wonderful human being.
Exactly.
And truly a special part of his cast members' lives. Shout out to him. Shout out to his family. He will be missed.
It's just sad whenever you've seen someone that I would say that through my childhood, I've seen just movie after movie, show after show of just him being him. And I'm like, he just seems like a really warm personality. It's almost, I'm not going to say in the same vein, but the same vein as Robin Williams, whenever Robin Williams passed.
No, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Just a beloved figure that you're like, that is someone we're truly
that is somebody
miss.
you did not want to lose, especially
Exactly.
at only 61. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
Like, it's so weird because 20 years ago, if you had heard 61, you'd be like, oh, well, that's not too bad. Now you hear it, and it's like, good God. They could
You're so young.
So young. Like, that's 20 years too early. But, AJ, moving on to today's main topic. I feel bad about this.
Why?
Because this was a recommendation from my wife. This was a beloved film from her childhood.
Uh-huh.
And now I am going to take a giant shit on her childhood.
Phrasing.
You're right, phrasing. That was awful. So, AJ, what film are we reviewing today?
We are going to review the 1990 made-for-TV film, A Mom for Christmas, which I will go right off the bat and say, if you've already seen the movie Mannequin, then you've already seen this movie.
Oh, no. Let me tell you what I wrote down in terms of what this movie is. Mix Mary Poppins with Mannequin.
Yeah.
Throw in a dash of Oliver Twist.
Ooh.
A touch of the Nutcracker.
Ooh.
With the, look at all the wonder, here's Santa Claus type thing. Then add in a little Pinocchio just for good measure. Then surround the entire plot around Olivia Newton John.
And her music.
You mean the 2 fucking songs? Yeah. And then, even then, it still even reminded me a little bit of The Twilight Zone. Like, I don't even know where to put this fucking movie. Like, do you remember the Mannequin episode of The Twilight Zone, After Hours?
No.
Because that's what this reminded me of.
I know where you can put this.
Where can
you can put this right on top of the tree, because it's a Toasty holiday episode.
Oh, yeah.
It's
cute. It's a burnt fucking toast is what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to... Ordinarily, we would probably wait till the end, because we're going to be introducing some new things in the new year, one of which is a rating system.
Yeah.
Now, to help you at home, our rating system has absolutely no fucking logic behind it.
No.
It's just however we feel about the movie manifested as some type of toast.
I like cinnamon toast.
So AJ likes cinnamon toast. So if he really likes a movie, if it gave him the warm feeling, he might say it's cinnamon toast. If he thought the movie was exciting, he might say that it's toast with some razzmatazz jam.
If it's excellent, I might give it a bacon cheese toast.
Ooh. If I like a movie, I might say it's buttery toast. But no matter what, if it's a piece of shit, It's burnt fucking toast. And that's what we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We've got burnt toast.
Burnt gluten-free toast.
Oh, God. Gluten-free. Fuck.
I mean, it's Mannequin at least has gluten in it. This is a little gluten-free.
No, I wouldn't even call Mannequin burnt toast. I would say it's like
a terrible movie, though.
Did you watch the same movie I did?
I did. I watched it 3 times. Okay.
I watched it twice, and that was 2 times too many. I love you, honey, and I'm sorry for what we're about to do to your childhood here.
We're going to tackle this like we tackle every other movie. I did the research on this one, so Sean
you go right
didn't
ahead.
have to.
I will be changing up my formatting from after this episode. So that's something to look forward to in the new year after this Christmas special.
New year.
But yeah, I'm gonna be slightly modifying my formatting. AJ's probably gonna be sticking with the same formatting. But let's jump in, AJ. What do you got for us?
All right. So this movie, like I said, was made in 1990. It was directed by George T. Miller, who unfortunately did pass this year as well. He had some credits that I think a lot of people would know. The Neverending Story 2, the movie Andre, which I don't know if you've seen that one. It's about a seal that comes in.
Oh,
well, it's a sea lion in the movie, but it's a seal in real life. But it's a lovely little movie about a little seal that just steals the hearts of people. Then he made another movie about, I guess, animals called Zeus and Roxanne in 1997. And the same year, he did Robinson Crusoe. Yeah. And he also did the movie Prey in 2009.
Which Prey is that?
It's not the one that you would think of.
Is that like the thriller, or is it something completely different?
This movie is not the newer one. I think is what you're probably thinking of. Where
because I'm thinking the one that's like it's Predator or adjacent, right? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah, this one is definitely not what you would think of. It's just a supernatural horror film, and it's just the last one that he did before his death. So there are a couple different producers on this one, but I'm really only going to talk about the one because he has some pretty eclectic credits to his name. Steve White. He did The Devil's Advocate in 1997, which I love that movie.
Great fucking movie.
Cabin Boy in 1994.
God. How do you go from The Devil's Advocate to fucking Cabin Boy?
Well, he went from Cabin Boy to The Devil's Advocate.
Oh, see that one. Now that leap makes sense. Yeah. That one makes sense because it's like, okay, I'm going to do this Cabin Boy to break into production. And then people are like, oh, you've got money? Cool. Let's give you a real project. And he's like, okay, I want to fund a really good project like The Devil's Advocate. That makes more sense.
Well, then he did Halloween Town High.
What the fuck?
In 2004. So he's just kind of all over the place. You have some top-notch movies. I know some people would disagree with Devil's Advocate, but it's got Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves.
I was about to say, it may not be like a critically acclaimed Oscar-worthy film, but it's a good film. It's dark. It's mysterious. It's incestuous.
That is a cinnamon toast film for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Cinnamon fucking toast crunch all the way.
But then you got Halloween Town High.
Yeah, that's like it's not burnt toast, but there's not a lot on it. It's pretty bland. Yeah, it's bland ass toast.
It's got like the margarine that you've had in there for like 6 years. You probably should have thrown away, but it's in that fucking container, and you know that
it's gonna taste okay, but you're gonna feel it later.
Yeah, you're gonna be really sad. So now let's just go ahead and jump into the cast, which it's a pretty good cast. It's not super star-studded, I will say that. But there are
star-studded at all. There's one motherfucker in it.
There's a couple different people, okay? And we're going to talk about them.
Okay. You tell me who else is in this cast besides Olivia fucking Newton John.
Well, that's who we're going to start with.
Well, what a shock.
We're going to start with Olivia Newton John, who unfortunately did pass in 2022, which was just last year, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. She played Amy Miller, who is the mannequin in this one who comes to life. I should probably mention what this movie is actually about, but I guess we've kind of already described it.
Not real. I mean, we've given adjacent films, but you're right. We haven't really discussed what the plot is. So yeah, AJ, what is this film about?
This is plot? One giant music video for Olivia Newton John.
There's 2 songs. Okay. There's 2 songs.
So it's an anthology series then.
Okay, what is the plot?
Okay, so basically, if you've seen the movie Mannequin, it's about a movie that a mannequin comes to life and the guy falls in love with the mannequin, blah, 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 blah. This is the same kind of movie, but just throw Christmas into it and it's great. There's a little girl who wishes for a mom for Christmas because her mom died. And then she gets her mom for Christmas up until Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Now that should have been the whole plot. but there's lots of plot lines within this that they keep introducing for no
That doesn't
fucking
make any
reason.
sense.
And some of them literally go nowhere. Like, there are plot lines in this that literally go nowhere. And I think that's why this movie upset me so much. Is because there are, and we're going to get to this, but there are little things introduced where it's like, okay, Chekhovian gun, we'll clearly resolve this at some point. Nope, we never discuss it again. It's just an open-ended plot line for no fucking reason.
So now...
I'm an angry little man about this.
He's an angry elf.
He's an angry
Because it's the holidays.
Because it's the holidays.
So now we will talk about more of the cast, but first I'm going to start off with Olivia Newton John. As I mentioned, she did die in 2022. She plays Amy Miller, who is the mannequin. You will mostly know her from Grease as Sandy, Xanadu in 1980 as Kira, who's like the main character essentially, and she also had that hip song Xanadu.
Yep.
And then she was in a movie in 2010 called Score, a hockey musical.
I think I've actually heard of this, sadly enough.
I've never heard of it, and I really want to watch it now.
Okay. Fucking we know what we're doing this weekend.
Next up, we have Juliet Sorcy as Jessica Slocum. She has not been in a lot of different things that you would know her from, but she was in a movie called Never Forget, which actually did seem pretty cool, and she played Edie Mermelstein alongside Leonard Nimoy.
Oh,
then
cool.
she's mostly done TV movies and bit roles in like CSI Miami and Baywatch and Zoe 101.
And she plays who? Jessica?
She plays Jessica, the daughter.
And this is the daughter, the one that wishes for a mom for Christmas.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Then we have Doug Sheehan, who plays Jim Slocum, who is Jessica's dad.
Okay. And this is the one that eventually tries to fuck the mannequin.
Yes.
Gotcha.
In a very creepy way.
Super fucking creepy.
Yeah. He was in General Hospital as Joe Kelly, Knots Landing as Ben Gibson. He played Edward Spellman on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the show, which is pretty cool. That's Sabrina's dad.
Oh, okay.
And then he was
I thought I recognized him.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. That puts that to bed. Okay. All right.
You also might know him from the show Clueless. He played Mel Horowitz.
The show?
Yeah, the show Clueless.
Like a television show based off the movie?
I actually don't know. I thought you would know because you're old.
No, I have never heard of this.
Oh, well then, never mind.
I only know that there was a movie. I had no idea they had adapted it to a TV show.
Well.
You just assume because I'm old. What the fuck?
Next, we have Doris Roberts, who I absolutely love. She died in 2016, unfortunately, and she played Phil, or Philomena.
Oh, yes. And she's Everybody Loves Raymond mom?
Yeah, she was in Everybody Loves Raymond as Marie. She was in Grandma's Boy as Grandma Lily.
Oh God, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you know what? I forgot. She is another.
I was about to say
she is fabulous. I totally forgot her. Apologies to her because she is absolutely fabulous. You're right.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation as Frances, and then she was in a slew of guest starring roles on TV, including Ah Real Monsters, Touched by an Angel, Lizzie McGuire, and Phineas and Ferb. She was been in a lot of.
God, there's a fucking title I haven't heard in 2 decades.
And it seems to me, and maybe it's just because this is an older movie, most of the cast in here unfortunately has passed away. The next one, Carmen Argenziano, who played Sergeant Morelli in this.
Fucking Morelli.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this fucking guy. I can't wait to talk about this fucking guy.
I kept thinking I know him from something, and I could not remember what it was. I know him from Don Juan DeMarco. He played Don Alfonso.
Okay.
Yeah, who was like someone that was fighting with...
Gotcha. What else has he been in? Because I know him.
He was in Angels and Demons as Father Silvano Belciavalego.
Wait, Angels and Demons, the Tom Hanks movie?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be where I know him a little bit from.
He was also in Gone in 60 Seconds as
That's it.
Detective Mayhew.
That's the one. Yep, that's the one.
Then we have Aubrey Mitchell, who also died. Unfortunately, he died in 2015. He plays Nicholas, who is basically a Santa mannequin.
Oh, the Santa mannequin.
Yeah.
Really? We're naming him?
There's a reason, though.
Because he was in it for 5 seconds?
No, because he is an integral part. You see him at the beginning. You also see him towards the middle whenever they're on stage. Mm-hmm. But the reason that we are going to talk about him is because he was in some stuff that I didn't even realize I recognized him.
All right.
He was in A Clockwork Orange as P.R. Deltoid.
Which one was P.R. Deltoid?
He was the doctor that seemed to be obsessed.
Oh, okay. The one that was obsessed with trying to correct him.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Holy God, Clockwork Orange. Fucking fantastic reference.
He was in Bordello of Blood as McCutcheon.
Dawn, like From Dusk Till Dawn?
Bordello of Blood would have been more Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, okay.
There was those 3 movies that came out.
Yep. I know what you're talking about now.
Then he was in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as Dr. Zimmerman.
Fun. Okay,
Yeah,
so he's got some pretty good credits.
Yeah, he's got some good credits.
All right,
and I was
all right.
like, okay, I know him.
All right. How the fuck did they convince me to do this piece of shit?
Don't know.
Jesus.
The next guy that I'm going to talk about seems like it's someone that you would know, and he's just a fun character. His name is Wilkins. He's
I knew you were going to mention Wilkins.
I fucking love Wilkins.
Tell him who Wilkins is, AJ.
He's funny. He's like a mannequin cab driver, because we do find out in the movie.
Chauffeur.
Sorry, chauffeur.
Chauffeur.
It's funny because in this movie you do find out, it's not really spoiling anything for you, if you can spoil anything about this, that the mannequins that exist, that I don't really know what the rules are, but there are certain mannequins that have a spark that can come alive for 2 hours at a time when no one's around.
Oh, I
He
think
is one of them.
The rules are actually really simple. Each mannequin is allowed to come to life for 2 hours at a time.
But
and
it's
they
a
kind of
special
rotate.
type of mannequin. They don't explain why.
So it's any mannequin that wasn't any of those weird gray ones.
No, it doesn't say. She said that some mannequins just don't have a spark.
Oh,
and
I
she
don't
didn't.
remember saying
She
that.
didn't explain why.
Oh, okay. Because I remember her talking to most of the mannequins, and the only ones she seemed to be very put off by were the ones that were very kind of like that. Because in the 90s, we started introducing mannequins that are just gray, and they didn't really have much of a face to them. We
In a
started
weird fucking hairdo.
Yeah, and these were very, you almost want to call it modern art looking. They don't really look human-esque, aside from the fact they're shaped like humans.
Like if
but they're
Andy Warhol made a mannequin.
like if Andy Warhol made a face on a mannequin, this is might be what it looked like. It was just very, very sharp angles on the face. It wasn't really like you could kind of see a nose, but there wasn't really any eyes.
Yeah.
And throughout this, Olivia Newton John is very put off by those. Like, she finds them creepy, and those are the ones I think, if I remember, she says talk about don't have a spark.
They don't have a spark, but she didn't say which mannequins don't. She just said not all mannequins had that spark.
I guess I don't remember that part.
And it's kind of funny
I'm
because
trying to trauma dump the fucking movie from
like
my
I said,
brain.
I watched it 3 times. So, but Wilkins, he's got some roles, but he's not the most well-known person. But he does have some good roles. He was in Independence Day. He was a really throwaway character named Reginald. He was in the RAF, so like the British Air Force.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So he was in there. He played an epic movie as Magneto.
Oh, God. Like Epic Movie, the one that makes fun of movies, that
Yeah.
whole stupid series. God,
Yeah.
They should have stopped that at Not Another Teen Movie, but all right.
He was in Batman Under the Red Hood as Alfred. He just voiced Alfred. And then
sense.
he was in Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops as Major Zero. So
Like
he has
the video games.
Yeah, the video
Okay,
games.
gotcha.
So he's done some voice acting as well. Now, before we get into the actual plot of this movie, you have to buckle up for this one. We're going to talk about some fun facts about this.
Okay. Because I have a fun fact for this as well.
I want to hear your fun fact.
You want to hear my
first.
fun fact? I was curious how this thing got rated on Rotten Tomatoes. There is no critics rating because, I don't know if it's because it's from 1990 and it was a TV-made movie, so maybe that's why, but there are no critics ratings for this. Audience rating, 72 fucking %.
Are you kidding me?
I couldn't fucking believe it. So, things that ordinarily have a 72%, movies like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Good one.
Megamind,
Good one.
Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, Clash of the Titans,
Which
Benny
one?
and June, the original,
Okay.
Benny and June.
That's a good one.
These are the types of movies that typically have 72%. They're not the greatest films ever made, but they're definitely good, fairly good films and fan favorites. I have no idea how this wound up in the same fucking category.
I think I know why, Sean.
Why?
Because the people that rated this secretly wanted a mom for Christmas.
I fucking hate you. Reggie. You know that. I mean, I love you, but right now it's nothing but pure unadulterated rage.
So let's go into some more fun facts.
Give me some more fun. So give me
Some more fun.
Give me more fun facts. I'm going to talk English sometime today. AJ, give me some more fun facts.
So one of the things about this is that it only was released on DVD as a Disney Movie Club member exclusive. So in 2008, it was earlier than this, but Disney had this like movie club exclusive group. You had to pay to get into it, and you were just part of like a fun members only club. And one of the things is that you could only purchase this movie, or I think it was actually distributed for free, I can't remember, if you were part of this club.
Interesting. I remember Disney Club. I remember that.
So apparently you had to be a member to get this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
now
I was
you
never
can
a part
watch
of
it for free
Yeah.
on fucking YouTube.
On YouTube, yes.
So that's the spoiling for the end. We talk about it in the end, but that's literally the only place I could find this was YouTube.
Same. Yeah, there was no other place. It was just YouTube.
most of the crew that was actually on this movie was Australian. So Olivia Newton John got Vegemite and like the Aussie news on set, which was she felt was weird.
I actually read this. Yeah, I did read that.
Now, John Travolta and Michael Beck were both offered the role of Jim in the movie, but he turned it down.
Yeah, because, well, I don't know about, who was the other one you said?
John Travolta and Michael Beck.
I don't know about Beck, but Travolta still had a career by that point.
Yeah, and I think the reason he really turned this down, though, is because he didn't want to be in another movie with Olivia Newton John.
Which is weird, because didn't they do kind of a resurgence thing here recently, just before she passed? I mean, it wasn't like a big thing. I think it was just I think they just did like a small song together, but which was really sweet. I love that they did it. But I get it. It's like, I don't think his career had really picked like fully back up yet. I don't think that really happened until the mid 90s when we started getting movies like Face Off.
Pulp Fiction was the thing they were.
Pulp Fiction, that's right. That was, yes. And that was what, 92, 94, something like that. So this is a little before that, but honestly, I think it was a good career move for him not to do this movie, because it would have made him just kind of like Olivia Newton John, who didn't have much of a career, and she was taking shit she should not have been taking.
The thing that sucks about this is that she was doing an interview, and I can't remember who she was being interviewed by, but she hadn't acted in a few years because she just became a mom in 1986, and she was talking about how this movie prepared her, her being a mom prepared her for the role, and she was talking about how she was like really excited because John Farrow had wrote these songs for her, and then the interviewer was just being such a fucking dick, and he was like pointing out that she hadn't done anything really well received since Grease, and he's like, do you feel the pressure to live up to that? And she was like, Grease was a phenomenon. She didn't feel the need to compete with herself. She just really wanted to see if this movie did good, but the guy was just kind of pushing for her to say, oh, I wanted to live up to Grease.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah, it kind of pissed me off.
I mean, and I like that attitude, because it's not that this was a good movie. It's a shit movie, let's be honest. But I like that she's kind of, I'm going to take it one project at a time and hope that project does well. Now, I don't think she should have ever signed on to this project.
No.
I think she should have passed on this like the fucking plague. But, that doesn't necessarily, I mean, you have, John Travolta. He did some amazing films. They did that Battlefield Earth nonsense.
Yeah.
Sometimes as an actor, of course you did. Jesus Christ. Sometimes as an actor, you take shit projects. And I think that's a healthy thing for Olivia Newton John to think to herself is, I'm going to take this project. I'm going to do my best on it. If it's well received, great. If not, that's okay. I'll try again next time. But I also think that when you see a script and the script is garbage and you're seeing all these plot lines that aren't going anywhere, you say to yourself, you know what? There are certain things you should pass on. Yeah. And this is not a good film. It's not well written. It's made for TV, which is not going to be a good move for my career. Step away from it.
I think, honestly, this is just me. She was a singer through and through.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, she was on the Eurovision contest. She had a song on there at one point.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What song?
I forget which song it was.
Wait, how is she on Eurovision? Wasn't she Australian?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's still part of the whole conglomerate there.
Right, but I mean, it's Eurovision. So for Eurovision, don't you have to have a song?
They're under the constitutional monarchy, so I don't know.
Well, so is Canada, but Canada doesn't get to participate.
Are you sure?
I have no idea, actually. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Americans can go to
No, we can't.
Hold on a second.
So to participate,
now we're taking a little side fucking shit.
Yeah, here we go. Fucking sidetrack. Because here's how I understand Eurovision. Each country, now you could probably have people participating, maybe, I don't know. But each country has a band or a musical act within that country put forth a song to compete in Eurovision. Am I wrong?
I wasn't looking that up.
Oh.
I was looking at her song that she did. It was a song called "Long Live Love," and she did it for the UK.
Okay, so there you go. So she probably has citizenship in the UK as well, then.
I don't know how she did that, honestly, because I'm only assuming that because Australia technically falls under the British monarchy, that she can compete for them. That's the only thing I can think of.
All right, we're going to take a quick pause
in 1974.
Okay, so the quick answer from Google. Following the recommendation of Cliff Richard, the BBC internally selected Olivia to represent the United Kingdom at Eurovision in 1974, hosted in Brighton. This was not the first time Australia had unofficial representation in the contest. So they're calling it unofficial. Now, one of the questions here is, why does Australia get to be in Eurovision? Australia's invitation to participate in 2015 was intended as a one-off in recognition of how popular the contest was in Australia. So no, Australians are not allowed to compete, but it sounds like there's like some backdoor ways you could allow somebody to compete in Eurovision. But that year, funny enough, guess who won Eurovision that year?
ABBA.
ABBA.
Of course it was fucking ABBA.
Of course it was
I
fucking
hate
ABBA. Why do you hate ABBA?
I just hate ABBA.
How do you have something against ABBA?
I do not like ABBA.
Well, apparently you're more of a Olivia Newton fucking John fan.
Look. But I just looked it up as well. The Eurovision rules don't dictate that you have to technically be a part of the EU, but it's generally understood that you would have to be a part of the EU for that. Because like Russia and all of them, they can compete and all of that. Some people from North Africa have competed.
Yeah, and obviously they allowed Australia to compete in 2015. So it sounds like there's some flexibility.
I just don't think they want Americans.
Yeah, exactly. This is just a way of excluding us from some shit.
They're like, hey, you can never be a part of this. But fucking Will Ferrell can be in it.
Well, he did a good job, though.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he won, didn't he? No, he didn't win. They got disqualified.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
That's a different movie.
That's a totally different movie. We should call
Back
that.
to A Mom for Christmas.
A Mom for Christmas,
Yeah.
which is what we're covering this week.
So before I move on, I do want to talk about who Sam Elliott would play in this movie.
Oh,
Who do you think?
I actually had it written down. Hold on. Who did I have? I think I had him as...
Morelli?
No, I did not have him as Morelli, because I would never do that to Sam Elliott. I would never cast him as such. I gave him a bit role. I wanted him to be Wilkins.
So did I!
Yeah, I love him I like him as Wilkins, just being quintessential Sam and being kind of goofy and cool, like the way he is in Parks and Rec.
That's exactly what I was thinking. In Parks and Rec.
He'd have fun with the role. It's small. It's fun. Because it's like, yeah, he probably would have done Morelli better than Morelli did Morelli, but I fucking hated that character so much. It was such a shit character.
So last fun fact before we get into the actual plot of this movie, which you're going to have to buckle up for. Maybe sip on some cocoa, because, it's the holiday season.
Because it's the holiday season. There's a theme. There's a theme, AJ.
This is based on a book called A Mom by Magic by Barbara Dillon. I did not look anything up about this book because... I didn't. I just failed you guys.
I have a feeling they probably didn't stick too close to the source material. Something tells me. Something tells me. So probably not really worth your time to look up the book.
Actually, no. Look it up because it might be better than the movie.
Or you could also just Kraken.
Ooh, Kraken. It's the holiday Kraken.
It's a holiday Kraken.
That is not a holiday drink. It's literally just the Diet Coke we've been drinking because Diet Coke sponsor us.
Yeah, sponsor us, Diet Coke. Come on.
That would be so great. This movie opens up with an upbeat song by Olivia Newton John and scenes of people doing their Christmas shopping at a place called Milliman's. A man is taking a mannequin dressed as Santa Claus to a garbage truck, but just as the mannequin is going to be crushed, it is rescued by Philomena.
I already have to interject.
Oh, okay.
And here's why. The Christmas thing, the thing you talked about opening on. So, like, right from the start... it opens on the Olivia Newton John song "What If." That's the song that's playing. I don't know how to describe this other than saying it sounds like great value Celine Dion.
It sounds like Olivia Newton John.
It sounds like great value Celine Dion.
It sounds like Olivia Newton John.
And
it sounds like every fucking Olivia Newton John song that's ever been done.
And the thing that irritated me about this is it doesn't even sound Christmassy. No. It's not Christmassy at all. As a matter of fact, it's a little weird. It's kind of a weird song.
Yeah, and it's too whimsical for what's going on.
Yes, it is far too fucking whimsical for the gravity of what they're trying to introduce here. So right off the bat, I was just like, oh my God, I don't even know how I'm going to get through this.
I really hope you're watching it with your wife.
I was watching it. I was. Please continue.
So the mannequin that was going to be crushed was rescued by Philomena, who says that Nick owes her. And we're like, oh, why is she talking to the mannequin? So at this point, we're also shown that Philomena has magical powers because she's dusting Nick off with a floating feather duster. We don't really know why she has powers. She just has them.
So on that note about Philomena, what do you think she is or is supposed to be?
I think she's a witch.
You think that's just a witch?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I tried to look up, like, if there was a famous Philomena that maybe they were basing her off of, but I found, like, Saint Philomena, so that didn't really seem to jive. I think there was a further back Philomena character in potentially some Greek or Roman mythology. I wasn't really getting a clear answer. So I wasn't sure. Like, do we call her an elf? Is she she's obviously a magical being.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe that was one of the problems I had is here we have an opportunity to take this magical being and give her some sort of basis in some mythology, give her some sort of background that the actor could have, because this is played by a very famous performer, and this would have given her some fantastic background to work with to interject into the character, and instead we just get her name is Philomena, we call her Phil, and there's nothing more to her other than she has some sort of mystic powers, and it's just like,
and they never elaborate on it.
Exactly, it's so one-dimensional, and I guess that's why it really bothered me.
They also didn't describe what the limitations of her magic are, but we know that she can't do certain things, because we'll talk about at the end, she can't just teleport places, which is, I don't know, it's very, very weird, but I know that she can float feather dusters and make mannequins come alive.
It's a very strange setup of powers. Shittiest fucking mutant powers ever.
So you can clean shit up and make mannequins come alive. So we meet Jessica, who we learn doesn't have a mom, and she's admiring a mannequin, but then she's like ridiculed by a bunch of kids that seem like the absolute fucking worst. They make fun of the way she dresses and all of this kind of stuff, and they're really making fun of the way she dresses because she doesn't have a mom. They're just like super dicks about it.
Yeah, I don't know how we got through this entire movie without somebody kicking that redheaded kid in the dick.
Yeah.
Like
he was an ass.
He really was. And just, which is impressive because, usually you go back and you see the bullies from 1990s and it's like, oh, they're not really that bad. They're just kind of asses. They're not, they're not like really hurting anybody or being really massively, they're just obnoxious. This kid wasn't just obnoxious.
He was really nasty.
Jerk. He was a nasty little shit.
Now, there's only one kid in the group that she doesn't get ridiculed by, and he just seems like a really nice guy, and she mentions that she has a crush on him after her friend Stephanie comes to her aid and chases the kids off.
And let's stop there, because already we have plotline number 1 that goes fucking nowhere.
Who the fuck is Stephanie?
No, not Stephanie. Oh yeah, there's the friend Stephanie. Stephanie's just kind of there to help us, like, introduce some plot points. She's fine. She's just helping us, like, talk about some things about who Jessica is. She's helping us. She's really just there to complement the characterization of Jessica. The boy crush. What happens?
Yeah, you never see him again after what happens later in the movie.
You see him one more time. You see him 2 more times. You see him again with the group again. Then you see him come to the house because...
Where there's a culmination later we'll talk about.
Yeah, he's going to come to the house. And then after that, never again. There is no resolution to this plot line of the guy she likes. Like, we get nothing from it. It is so unsatisfying. There's no reason to introduce this kid at all. He never should have even been introduced.
There's only one reason to introduce him, and we'll talk about it later. But even then, you could have done something else that would have worked.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many different devices we could have used. This kid was totally unnecessary. His entire existence could just have been... Just get Philomena over to wave a magic feather duster and get this fucking kid out of here.
Probably a limitation. She can't just wish people.
That part of her mutant powers.
So we do know that after she's talking to Stephanie that she does have a crush on this one little boy who doesn't really matter, apparently. And then they see a fake wishing well in the corner of the store, and they both receive gifts from it. It's just, I guess, like a gift exchange thing that they just reach in and they grab these gifts. And Jessica gets 1 free wish. See Philomena. That's what it says. So Stephanie leaves to go with her mom, and Jessica brings the box to Philomena, who tells her that while it has no monetary value...
What's this value of this wish I'm supposed to make? I mean, like $1, $5?
Oh, no, it's much less than that.
It does give her 1 true free wish. She also has Jessica pick up trash for some reason.
Yeah,
which Philomena is like obsessed with that.
I don't like. She keeps coming back to this whole picking up trash. But going back to her friend, Jessica's little friend Stephanie. How did you feel about that Industrial Revolution joke?
It was a little fucking odd.
It was not only odd. It kind of hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I felt attacked. Because she's like, well, mom's telling me about dating, but she hasn't dated since the Industrial Revolution. And I'm like, listen here, you little bitch. All right, some of us are old and tired. Don't you dare. How dare you?
Jessica goes back and forth on what she wants before Philomena uses her magical intuition to let Jessica know that she knows her mom is no longer with her. And I don't really know why the fuck this is a thing. This is another power she has, where she says that she just hears wishing. She says that she will have a mom for Christmas, starting at midnight until midnight Christmas Eve. Those are the rules. And her note has transformed into a magical crystal necklace, and I don't really understand that either. It's very odd.
Whoa, hold on. I just had an epiphany here. So you said something about she hears wishes?
That's what she said.
Okay. And didn't she say, like, Nick owes her something or something like that?
Yeah.
So maybe she's Mrs. Claus.
No, she's not.
Why not?
She's not Mrs. Claus because it has nothing to do with Christmas.
What do you mean it has nothing to do with Christmas?
She's been a friend of all these mannequins for a long time. She just works at the store. She's not Mrs. Claus. The only reason Nick is there and dressed like Santa Claus is because he was a mannequin. They just dressed up like Santa.
Okay.
That's it.
So
I thought the same fucking thing.
Huh. Yeah, so she remains completely one fucking dimensional. Fantastic.
Yeah,
okay.
I know, you tried.
I want these characters to be so much more than they are.
I wonder if she's a fairy. Because she can
Thank you.
hear
Yeah, maybe
wishes.
she's a fae. Yeah, that would make more sense. But still, we didn't give her that to work with.
That's true. We don't know.
We don't know.
And then for some reason, and I did not understand this, and maybe it's just that early 90s were a different time. I was not yet born. I was only born in 1992.
Okay.
Why the fuck? Because this just happens where Jessica randomly kisses this woman on the cheek. Just met her.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a thing we did.
A little weird.
Yeah. I mean, we were definitely... There was definitely an expectation back then
to kiss old women on the cheeks.
No, of affection. Because like now, like even with my nephews, my wife has pointed it out and is trying and really wants me to embrace this idea of not hugging them unless they want a hug. Mm-hmm. Like to ask them, like, do you want a hug? Do you want an Uncle Sean hug, or do you want an Uncle Sean fist pound, or an Uncle Sean high five? To kind of try to establish and respect boundaries so that they don't feel like they're being forced into affection.
That does happen later in life, that things come up.
So I will say that in the 1990s, that did not fucking exist.
Nope.
If your uncle wanted a fucking hug, you gave the man a hug. If you wanted if Uncle Jimmy wanted to put a big sloppy wet kiss on your face, then damn it, bring it on, Uncle Jimmy, and say it's time for lips. That's just how it works.
Now, at Jessica's home, Jessica's dad, Jim, comes home and immediately asks if he received a fax, which I don't understand this fucking thing that happens. They just get faxes, and that's what he does.
It was the 1990s. That's how we communicated.
Oh, okay.
That's what we had. We didn't even have... Think about this. This is 1990. We don't even have email yet. Like, not even... Well, there might be some form of email kind of starting, but until Windows really becomes a major household name, email isn't really that well known yet. I mean, Hotmail doesn't even exist at this point. So fax is really kind of how you communicated back and forth to do like quick, over the phone, communication. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's funny that you mention computers because they do have a computer in their house.
That's not a computer.
What is it?
That is called a word processor.
What?
Yeah, I know. They sit there and they put a website up or whatever it was, or not. What was it? A website?
It was basically she set this like how many days till Christmas, how many shopping days till Christmas.
Yeah, but that was probably more like an earlier word processor, which some of us did have. We had. It's hard to explain. Basically, a word processor was just like it kind of had programs on it, but not really. The only program was really just something to type on. It was kind of the thing that bridged the gap between a typewriter and a computer with an actual graphical user interface and programs. In between, you had some things where, you had a couple of IBM things that were actual computers, and that may have been what that is, but that's not what it looked like to me. To me, it looked like the old-style word processors that literally just, you didn't open it up or anything. You had to kind of type it in, kind of like an old DOS prompt, and it would just bring up a word processor so you could type things out and then print from that instead. And usually it was on a dot matrix printer.
We're getting a lesson here, guys.
Yeah, this is very old-timey shit.
Either way,
just so fucking old.
Just so you guys can understand what's going on, it's a fucking computer. Let's just call it what it is.
Okay, so it's a computer.
Yeah, it's a computer.
It's old-timey people for computer. So if it was a typewriter, we would also call it a computer.
Yeah, rodeo clown. Gotcha. So, as I said, that she has this message on their computer just basically saying there's remaining shopping days left for Christmas. But she also tells her dad that the house sitter or the housekeeper just quit. And he just doesn't seem that bummed about it. He's like, oh, well, darn. The only reason this is mentioned is because it is just a plot device to explain how Amy is able to just show up at the fucking house.
I'm glad that you mentioned that the dad is just so unbothered by it, though, because it's like we get nothing further from that either. You know, if we had just been establishing that, you know, it's been impossible for him to keep a housekeeper, that would have made more sense. You know, kind of like the Mrs. Doubtfire thing where Robin Williams keeps calling in to give you a reason why she would be so comfortable with this old British woman that Robin Williams is pretending to be.
Hello.
It's because they do a montage of like 17 phone calls before that where he's calling in and being the most outlandish, crazy characters ever. But here it is where she's talking about this person's been fired, and the dad is just like, oh, okay. But we have no context to...
Not fired, just quit.
Just quit.
Yeah.
And it's not like any sort of like, here's why this person quit, or this girl is such a problem that's why they keep losing housekeepers, which is why when the mannequin woman comes, it's such a blessing because, oh my gosh, this one actually wants to stay, and there's something really magical and special about her. No, we get none of that. It's just... like you said, it's literally just a plot device to go, there is an open position that the mannequin woman can now come and fill.
Yeah.
Awful.
Now, he looks at a picture of Jessica's mom, and you get the sense that he's really not there for his daughter, because there's no pictures on the wall of anything of this child after her being a baby. It's very odd. This is actually something they mentioned later, but there's nothing from the time period after the mom dies of any pictures of just Jessica. So now we see Philomena, and she's shown decorating a mannequin, and asked Mr. Morelli what he thinks, because we're back at the actual mall, is what I can say. That's pretty much what this place is, and he gives her a weird explanation on how he's a glass half empty person, and he honestly just seems to be a fucking Grinch. And then she tells him that there's an empty cup on the counter behind him, to which he just throws on the ground, which doesn't make any sense. Mr. Morelli just seems to be just a piece of shit kind of character.
I fucking hate this character, on so many levels. Not just because the guy actually plays it fairly well for what he was given.
Yeah.
But let's jump just ahead just a little bit, okay? Once the mannequin comes to life, the Morelli character becomes the kind of the one that's trying to figure out what's missing, right?
Yeah.
Because the mannequin goes missing along with the clothes, and it's his job to figure out what's happened, right? We find out that he is a fucking police detective sergeant that takes vacation to work full-time as a loss prevention officer or loss prevention associate for a department store.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's not a fucking thing. This has never been a fucking thing. There's plenty of off-duty cops who will tell you that they've worked, off-duty for department stores, right? Usually they're in uniform and they're just there. They're not doing loss prevention. And if they are, it's usually maybe they're doing it a little bit in their off hours or what have you, but not fucking police detective sergeants. This is such fucking nonsense.
No, maybe a cop might do security for after hours for places.
That's what I mean. My dad did that.
But
My
you
dad
would never fucking have a full-on detective sergeant working at a goddamn
full-time.
Just working at a mall.
Exactly. Full-time working at a fucking department store as their loss prevention specialist. It's fucking nonsense. His entire fucking existence in this story is just absurd. I could not get my brain wrapped around this. And the way it's like they wanted him to be kind of this slapstick character, but he decided to play it like a full-on Italian fucking mobster cop fucking Serpico. I don't know what the fuck he was going for here, but
he played this very serious, and that's not... They were looking for, I don't know, the fucking, the Pink Panther. They were looking
they were looking for the nonsense cop who has no idea what the hell's going on and is a complete buffoon. And he comes in, he's like, no, I'm gonna play this like fucking Serpico. That's what I'm gonna fucking do. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I'm gonna play this like Pacino. Get fucked.
It's fucking great.
Oh my god. Go on, please. Go on.
Philomena leaves later on that night, but not before touching a mannequin that Jessica had been eyeing earlier on the nose, who then starts to move. Back at Jessica's house, there's a storm raging outside, and Jim comes to check on her. it's like 12 o'clock at fucking night almost too, which was very odd that they're both up and she had to go to school tomorrow, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But she asked to hear about her mom. He tells her a story that she seems to be very familiar with about the mom having some strange intuition and knowing that at one point when Jessica was a baby, she ended up under the bed.
I don't know.
It was a very odd story where he's like, oh yeah, your mom just woke up and she said, Jessica's under the bed, and you were under the bed, sleeping. It's like, the fuck is this story that we're telling?
And it never comes up again either.
No, never comes up again.
Not like it's not really one of the plot lines that goes nowhere, but it certainly was just kind of this throwaway story. And in any good narrative, that would have given us something. Like that would have come up later, like her hiding under a bed or being under a bed or being found under something later. But no, that it never becomes a thing.
I think this was simply a way for them to say that they were open to the idea that strange things happen.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's the only thing I can think of, because he's not at the end. You see some shit. He seems to be kind of accepting of one thing, but not really accepting. But that's the only thing I can think of. Just some throwaway plot device.
I'll buy that for $1. Yeah, why not?
I got you $1.
I got you $1.
Now, at midnight, there's a ring at the door, and Jessica immediately realizes her wish must have come true. Like, just immediately, it's like, oh yeah, I know what this is.
Well, okay, I'll give them this. Despite everything I have to say about the film, and unfortunately, this actually is kind of a black mark on this as well. You would think this might be a good thing, but it's not. They didn't pander the whole, oh my gosh, you're a mannequin. They didn't do that.
No.
She just kind of accepted and understood and immediately realized who she was and realized that she had to make some kind of concessions to conceal that it was a mannequin, that her wish had come true. But the problem is this is supposed to be a movie for children. They should have done all that.
Yeah.
There should have been that moment of, oh, you're real, you're really real. This wild childhood wonder of magic and wonderment in her eyes opening up to the real, like, I get
like
it. The
life-size Tyra Banks.
Yeah, exactly. There should have been that epiphany moment for the children. But instead, they kind of played it like you should play it for more of an adult film, which was weird, because with an adult film, you don't want to have that moment. You don't want to pander to us. You just kind of want to go, you kind of want to see the expression come across the character's face of, oh my God, that's the fucking mannequin I brought to life. And then just kind of let it play out as is and don't pander to the audience. So it was like, okay, what are we trying to do here, people? Are we trying to make a cute kids movie, or are we trying to make this a really deep adult movie? Because I don't know where you're trying to fucking go here.
So the mannequin from the store, obviously, has come to life and greets them as Amy Miller. She says that she's answering an ad for room and board, which doesn't make any sense because the dad is like, oh, I don't think I actually did this, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It's like Mary Poppins, where they were supposed to be putting in an ad and all this other stuff, and blah, 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 blah.
This is exactly where I got the Mary Poppins from. This whole fucking interaction right here.
And she immediately says that she'll do it for the room and board in exchange for watching Jessica and keeping the house clean. Then she says that she really just wants to work at Milliman's selling clothes part-time. Like, I want to do this. This is exactly what I want to do. And everyone's just super accepting about it. And then they take her to the room, which is above the garage. And Jim is shown to be quite smitten with Amy in almost a creepy way. And he lets her stay and just take care of her.
Of course.
That's it.
Of course.
The next day, and we do get kind of an inclination that Amy did take some stuff from the store. One of them is a book about cooking, and I forgot what the other thing was, but it's essentially like all of these...
the bag. Her bag.
There was something else, though, where it was basically like...
books. Yeah.
A bunch of books teaching her how to be like a housewife, essentially.
Yeah, and just to be a human in general, because she didn't, I will say that. I'll give Olivia Newton John that. She actually played I don't understand how human pretty well. Yeah. I will give her that. Like of everything in this film that I can completely dismiss that annoyed me to no end, I will say I actually really enjoyed Olivia Newton John's performance in it. She was fun. She had this wild-eyed kind of naivete about her constantly, and was just kind of, even in the deep moments, she was able to quickly come out of them like somebody might do if they were so awkward because they didn't know how to
they don't know how to be a person.
So I will give her that. She played that really well, and that's what I loved about the books. It was like, oh, I got some books just in case I need to understand how humaning works.
And she does use the books in the next scene. She wakes up in the morning and she makes chicken soup for breakfast for some reason.
Exactly, because what a mannequin wouldn't know that chicken soup isn't a breakfast meal. It makes sense.
And then she points out just immediately that the dad never really noticed the daughter.
Yeah, it's fucking creepy.
Yeah, there was like a throwaway line where he was like, "Oh yeah, Jessica's growing so big. I guess I never really noticed." And she's like, "Dad's really never noticed. It's moms that do that." And it's like, Jesus.
Oh no, here's the line that creeped me out around this exact time. Jess is more grown up every time I look at her. To which Mannequin answers, "How often do you look at her?" And it was so creepily delivered. Like, how often do you look at her? It was like, why are you saying it like that? Like, is this not, like, did we just not have this inclination in 1990 that, adults can be bad? Because this was very awkward to hear.
And then they both leave to go take Amy to the mall to get a job. I don't know why, but they both have to go.
Well, yeah, because, the daughter has to help her get a job because, even though we've convinced the dad that this is a grown-ass woman, she's a grown-ass woman that needs all the help in the world from a child.
Exactly. We're shown in the next scene that Mr. Morelli is investigating the missing mannequin with the owner of Milliman's, and then we get the realization that he actually is a cop who moonlights as a security guard. I don't know why. And
not moonlights. No, you're not going to use that fucking word because it's not moonlights.
Well, I say that because there was another cop that said that. He's like, "Oh yeah, on the security gigs that you moonlight."
But that's just it. It was like if it was just a security gig that he was moonlighting, it's like, okay, that might even be somewhat plausible because I have known off-duty officers who do more of the loss prevention thing where they'll go in plain clothes and do actual loss prevention work. But it is moonlighting work. Their daytime gig is still, as usually, a cop or an officer. This is a police detective sergeant who took an entire week off to go work full-time at a fucking Dillard's. What the fuck?
He seemed to be kind of close with Milliman, so maybe it's like a deal that the dude gives him a lot of money. I don't really know. They don't describe it. It's okay. We're moving on anyway. It's okay. So Amy and Jessica talk on their way to the mall, and Amy lets Jessica know that there are multiple mannequins with the spark that can come to life for 2 hours alone when they're that there are multiple mannequins with a spark that can come to life for 2 hours at a time when they're alone. And it's kind of funny because they mention these like mannequins in a window, and she's like, "Oh, I don't talk to the window people. They always kind of stick together." It's like, what the fuck? They're stuck up apparently.
You know how cliquey those window people can be.
I know.
And window people and their clicks.
And she just kind of says that they're stuck up, which is funny. Then she takes Jessica around to her friends, which include Wilkins, a chauffeur mannequin who describes her as being nice but only talks about cars, and a couple of other her friends, including Betty, which
the gal pals.
Yeah, the gal pals. Jessica walks around the store and talks to Amy's mannequin friends, thanking them for letting her borrow Amy. And then the kids from earlier make a fucking fun adventure again and show up. And aside from the one kid that she seems to have a crush on, like make her life miserable, and then they walk away.
Yeah, and once again, like to reiterate, redheaded kid needed to be kicked in the dick.
Yes, for sure.
He was just such a little asshole. I'm just imagining how awful the parents were, but then, that's me thinking more than one-dimensionally on characters, again, like an asshole, because that's the only way I can get through this film.
Now, Amy gets the job without any identification, without any background check on who the hell she is.
Oh, you're not skirting the fuck over this.
Yeah, no, there's nothing fucking there.
We gotta talk about this, because it's not even the background stuff, like the fact that she, they don't do any background checks or anything, because it's the 90s.
There's no ID.
She doesn't have an ID. That's definitely odd. But it's the 90s. If somebody came in, they looked reasonably well put together, and they asked for a job, and they had a resume, they might be able to just go, oh, sure, right? Now, for tax purposes, they would eventually need to get her identification, birth certificate, all that stuff, right? Yeah. For, submitting taxes.
To pay her?
To pay her, yeah. But, neither here nor there. Here's where I just couldn't fucking believe that we were actually trying to do this. Do you remember what age Olivia decided to tell her she was?
8.
And then she corrected to?
28.
28. You know how old she was in this film?
She's what, 40?
42.
Yeah.
She maybe, if she had said 38, if she had said 35, I could have been like, okay, she could totally pass for 35. She was not passing for 28 here. I'm sorry. I'm not
it's
trying
been
to...
some hard years, John.
It's not even that.
It was the 90s.
It's not even that. Olivia Newton John was an absolutely stunning woman, and even in this film, at 42 years old, she was a breathtaking beauty. But she wasn't 28 fucking years old, and anybody who would have seen her would have been like, no, she's obviously not 28.
There's mannequins that come to life in this.
No. Okay, I can suspend my belief about mannequins coming to life. I cannot suspend my belief about somebody who's 40. If I try to pass myself off as 28, how do you think that would go over?
You old as shit. There ain't no guy.
Exactly. It's fucking ridiculous. And it was just like, come on. Can we not do this? Olivia does, and I get it. It was the 90s. All the bullshit we have now, where we're constantly in Hollywood thinking that we need the younger woman and that women in their 40s can't have a career. It was 10 times worse in the 90s. 10 times worse.
Well, this was also the era of people that were probably in their 30s and 40s playing high schoolers and everything like that.
And that's why this bothered me, because it was like, I'm not blaming Olivia Newton John for
sure.
this. She didn't make this decision. Somebody was like, well, we can't have this as a 40-year-old woman. You need to be 28. Which is stupid. It's like, no, she is a beautiful 40-year-old woman. Let her be a beautiful 40-year-old woman. Or, again, 38 would have been fine. Totally passable as 38. She could have even pulled off early 30s. But when
She could have said 30.
20s,
She could have said 2. Oh, 32.
yeah,
100%.
exactly. 32, and even 32 is a bit of a stretch, but still, you're right. I could believe her in her 30s. She was an absolutely gorgeous woman, but 20 in her 20s, like, no, this is not a woman in her 20s. Let's not do this. Let's not pretend like she needs to be in her 20s. She's a beautiful 40-year-old woman. It just, that whole scene bothered me, because it's like, nobody watching this believes Olivia Newton John is 28. And that was the other worst part. It's like, this is not a throwaway name. This is Olivia Newton fucking John. We all knew who the fuck she was in the 90s.
It was a flattering thing, though.
But it wasn't flattering. It was pandering.
Either way, it's neither here nor there. It's a movie about fucking mannequins at Christmas. Okay?
I will die on this hill. All right, Olivia Newton John deserved the respect to be the age that she was, and Hollywood was like, no, we're gonna pander and say that only 20-year-olds deserve fucking love. Assholes.
Maybe that's why Morelli was suspicious of her too, because
no, Morelli was suspicious because he just thought everybody was a fucking criminal because he's a dumbass.
Well, he also looked at her outfit and immediately put it together, like, oh, this is what was stolen. She's wearing this. Oh, she must have stole it. I don't know how the hell he did it, but he did.
He also knew her shoe size, didn't he? Or no, the interviewer knew her shoe size.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay.
Later, Jessica's friend Stephanie tells Jessica that they can't do their annual Christmas tree shopping that they had planned because I guess her dad was sick or something like that, and that Jess needs to find her own way there. She asked Amy for money for the cab, which I don't understand how she already got a paycheck, but Amy has already blown her first paycheck because she's secretly paying Milliman's back.
Yeah, and this part also bothered me too. There's so much of this that bothered me. I have so many notes. She tells her that she can't afford the cab, right? So what do? They go get
Wilkins.
Now go get Wilkins. Great idea. Yet they're still able to afford the tree. How'd they afford the tree?
Maybe they only had enough for the tree.
Yeah, okay, I guess that works. Fuck. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna suspend that simply because I harped so much on the 42-28 conversation. I'm just going to suspend my disbelief on this and say they were just savvy budgeters that knew they could only afford the tree.
Well, maybe there's a set price for the tree. They have this. That she set it aside. She wasn't expecting to have to take a cab.
Like I said, savvy budgeters. That's what it was. She knew all along she was going to be able to rely on Wilkins because Wilkins is the hero.
They do go to the mall. They do get Wilkins. They also, are let in by another one of her friends in a very creepy way because the mannequin comes to life for a second, lets them in, says hi, and then goes back to being a mannequin. So they ask Wilkins to take them to pick up the tree, and he explains that the store has put a lot of displays in the way since he was put in, so he doesn't really know how to get out. But then he proceeds to drive out, and he just fucking causes utter chaos because he just starts hitting random shit, and he just uttering some weird ass catchphrases. Here's like he'll hit something and goes, "Purrs like a cat, drives like a dream." Sorry.
I gotta say, I actually fucking loved him.
It was great.
He was my favorite character in the whole fucking film. Him and Philomena, loved him. Loved these two characters.
And then before getting to the tree lot, they run out of gas, and Amy charms the gas station attendant into giving them gas, which is kind of funny. But they pick up a tree, and then Wilkins starts to turn back into a mannequin. I don't know why. I guess he's breaching that 2 hours. And then he starts saying weirder shit, because he's like, drives like a cat, purrs like a dream. And then he quickly drives away. Now, they bring the tree into the house, and they accidentally break a picture of her mom, and Amy realizes that none of the pictures on the wall are any recent ones of Jess, and they're only from whenever her mom was alive. When they are asked what they'll tell their dad, Amy says They're going to tell the truth. You always need to tell the truth. And they proceed to decorate the tree with makeshift ornaments, and they do a fucking good-ass job.
Yeah, they
it's
do.
a good-ass job. This tree looked great. And Jim is obviously...
For a short time.
Yeah, for a short time. But Jim is impressed, and then whenever he gets home, he's like very like, oh my god, we need to celebrate this. So Jess leaves the room to go grab another fax, and Amy and Jim have a moment alone.
Yeah,
but then one of the candles they put on the tree falls and catches the whole living room on fire. Amy grabs Jessica, and Jim fights the fire, and most of the room is burnt beyond compare. But then there's a cop that's like consoling him later, and he's like, thank God it was only one room. To which Jim says, there was a lifetime in that room. And he's obviously distraught due to all of the photos being burnt. And he angrily tells Jess to go to school because Jess is like, hey, I can stay home today and help fix this. And he's like, no, go to school. And then Amy says that she wants to help, and he rebuffs her as well.
See, he really should have been upset about the fact that he was trying to fuck a mannequin.
Not yet. He wasn't trying to fuck her yet.
Oh, he was definitely trying to. Before that tree got on fire,
he had the
was trying
thought.
to fuck.
He had the thought of mannequin.
He was trying to fuck.
He had the thought.
He's a plastic-loving sicko. All right, sick fuck.
Hey, we don't kink shame here. so Jess lashes out at Amy to essentially leave her alone and asks Amy what she'll do now since all her books that she's been using to get ideas for fashion and food, they're all burnt up now.
I don't have my books. I don't know how to human anymore.
So back at Milliman's, this is a weird scene too because we see Morelli. He's inspecting the car from the previous night, and he's obviously a little shocked that it seems to have moved, and he's just like, "The fuck is going on?"
I mean, he's not wrong. He did what didn't he see like skid marks right in front of the car? It's like, yeah, that's a pretty big fucking that's weird. This car has clearly been driven, unless somebody decided to paint skid marks on the ground, which would not be a thing. So yeah, that was a reasonable fucking suspicion there.
Here is the scene where I think it also reinforces, at least the next scene I should say, reinforces how they didn't know what to do with Jim, because Amy asked Jim if he wants some soup and is quickly told,
Are you sure you don't want some gazpacho?
No!
and he's just like very disgusted with her.
Is this the part where he says like, "I never hear you talk about your past"?
Yeah.
See, that really bothered me. It was like, oh, I'm sorry, Jim. Has she not told you everything there is to know about her in the 24-hour fucking hours that you've known her? Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
It was such a dumb line. I never hear you talk about your past. Like, you've literally known her for less than a day. I think it's okay that she hasn't given you her life story yet.
That's another kind of plot hole here that we have with the whole movie. We never really know how much time has passed. You're not really given a...
That's a good point. Yeah, we don't really know when she made the wish, and all we know is that it ends on Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't know how much time has passed.
Yeah, it's the only gauge we have.
Because there's a lot that they do in between this time. And at least during this conversation, they're talking about living in the past and all that kind of stuff. But you really don't know how long she's been living there, which is kind of odd.
Very true.
But then he angrily tells Amy that she has no right to ask the questions that she is. And then she apologizes, saying that she doesn't know what she's supposed to do or not because she's a mannequin.
And she lost her books.
So Amy goes to see where Jess went and finds her at Milliman's. They reconcile, and then they apologize. Oh, sorry. Jim goes to see where Jess went. Apologizes for not being there for her. And then back at home.
Oh, hold on. Are you just going to skid over that?
What?
That was the resolution of that
Yeah,
plot
that was the whole. That's how fast we skid over it.
Yeah,
there's nothing there.
That's just so irritating to me. That was a very big plot line of the reconciliation of Jessica and her father, them coming to terms and being able to once again be a family. That was the reconciliation right there. It's completely over after that. There is no more, Jess needing to be, reconnect with her father. We're done with it. It's completely over now. Like, there will be more scenes with Jess and father, but our whole, needing to reconcile them as a father-daughter duo is completely resolved at this point. It's like, are you fucking kidding? We're not even halfway through the fucking movie at this point. And the other part that really bothered me, he comes there and he says something about Mrs. Garcia knows Jessica goes to the mall during school. Why the fuck did Mrs. Garcia never call her father? Why is he just now finding out about this?
Who the fuck is Wendy?
Mrs. Garcia. It's not somebody you find out about. She's casually mentioned.
Yeah.
So the dad comes there, and he knows that she's there because he says, well, Mrs. Garcia tells me that you go to the mall a lot during the day. It's like, so basically your child has been skipping school, going to the mall, enough that the teacher has taken full notice of this, and you only found out about it because you tried to go to the school to find her.
Yeah.
That's the first time you're nobody's calling, nobody's sending you a fax. What the fuck?
No, there's no faxes.
There's no fax. What the shit?
No. Back at home, Amy tells Jessica that she has a surprise for her. And then they go inside and they see Chip, who is the one boy that apparently is good to Jessica.
The love interest, the crush. Yeah, one that this is going to be the last time we see him.
Yeah. And then Amy tells her that she knew that she was scared to ask him over, so she did to cheer her up. And then she tells Jessica that she read about how she felt about him in her diary and wanted to fix things between them. This, mortifies Jessica, who tells her that she can't be anyone's mom because she's not even human. And then later on that night, all three of them are seen in various states of sadness as another Olivia Newton John song is playing. And Amy says that she can't go on being human. It's too hard. And Jessica is shown very melodramatically saying that she wishes she could take the wish back and throws the necklace away. And I have to say, she's a child actor. All right. Yeah. And I'm going to say this with all the love that I can about a child actor. She fucking sucked. I don't know what she was doing for most of the movie, because in this scene, it is way over the top on how she should be doing it. And it's played into a point where it's not even real.
I don't even blame her for this. I don't blame the child. The problem is that whoever wrote this expected the child actor to do most of the carrying of the film.
Yeah.
So basically our main two people that are going to carry this film are Olivia Newton John and this child actor. So I immediately think of the movie The Santa Claus. You've got the kid's name, Charlie, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he's a big part of the plot, but he's not carrying anything. It's all on Tim Allen's character. And there's a reason for that. You don't put that much auspice on the child character. If you're going to, you're going to have to put a lot of work in. It is going to take a lot of work to get a child actor to a point. And I'm obviously not talking about kids that are 12 and older. I'm talking about kids like this that are 10 and under.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to put that much auspice on their character to where they're going to carry a major portion of the plot, you are going to have to put in a lot of time and effort. And they weren't ready to do that here. So why in God's name would they commit themselves to making her the major plot driver? That was insanity.
When she didn't necessarily have the skill to do it. So
hold on. I want to go back to... You skipped over this. The song. That fucking song.
It was very...
The song is called So Strange. And let me give you some of the incredible lyrics of the song. So deep. So blue. So strange. And yes, it is creepily whispered just like that.
So deep, so blue, so strange.
It's Olivia Newton John.
I was just... The way those lyrics came in, whispering just, so deep, so blue, so strange. It was like, I hate you. I hate that you made me listen to this. I hate that this song exists. God damn you, Olivia Newton John, and whoever wrote this shit.
It was not a great showcase. I mean, it fits what's going on right now. It's kind of a piece of shit song, kind of a piece of shit scene. It's all kind of tied in together because, as I said, that Jessica's very dramatically throwing the necklace away, saying she wants to take everything back. Then she looks out the window and she just sees Amy's arm just kind of up in the air and freaks out. And she runs to go see Amy
because she thinks she turned back into a mannequin. Yeah, makes sense.
She's scared that she's reverted back, and she goes into a room and then is crying to her. And then they sleep in the same room, and the dad doesn't say shit about it.
I mean, it's a. So I think he's kind of catching on as a motherly figure. I'll give it that. I don't know.
Someone you just met.
Yeah,
is
you're right.
Sleeping above your garage.
Yep, you're right.
With your daughter.
That's fucking creepy.
Yeah. So Jess and Amy attend a rehearsal of a Christmas pageant that Jess is a part of. Jess is bullied again by one of the boys that has just been selected to play Santa due to a statue not arriving. To get back at him, Amy and Jess head back to the mall and retrieve Nick, the mannequin that Phil saved at the beginning. He is delighted to go with them, and they sneak out, avoiding getting caught by Maroney?
Oh, yeah, because Maroney's kind of...
Yeah.
Is it Maroney? Wait,
I don't think it's Maroney.
You just corrected it again the other time. Morelli?
Morelli.
Morelli, that's what it is. We keep wanting to say Maroney, but it's actually Morelli. Either way, he's a terrible character.
I thought I corrected this already, but okay.
But I'm glad you bring this up, because this introduces 2 new plot points, both of which are completely unnecessary. And here's why I think they did it. They needed to get this to an hour and a half. Yes. I swear to God, that was the only reason they did this. So right here, we've got Jessica wrestling with, having lost her mother and not having a mother. We've got Jessica wrestling with the fact that now that even though she has this new mother in her life, she's going to lose her soon on Christmas Eve because this wish only lasts so long. We have Jessica wrestling with the fact that she has a strained relationship with her father. But yeah, sure, let's go ahead and introduce this plot line of she's a little nervous to be on stage for the Christmas show. And also let's introduce this plot line of here comes Santa Claus and he gets exploded by a car. Yeah. Like, it's just, there's no point to it whatsoever. But this is the part of the plot of the whole Santa coming to life and the everything they do with that. That's the part that very much reminded me of Nutcracker. There's no point to this plot. There is absolutely no reason for this to exist. There's no reason to have introduced this other than just, if they had just gone and got Santa, brought him to the play, and kept this whole, she's nervous about being on stage plot point, which really was unnecessary as well. But if they had just done that, fine. But they do this whole Nutcracker thing. Do you remember the Nutcracker, how it's really just the Nutcracker taking the girl around and saying, here are the sugar plum fairies, and they do a dance for her. That's very much what this was reminiscent of. It's, the mannequin, Olivia Newton John, saying, bringing Santa to life, and then she starts bringing other things to life and going, look.
You are describing way too much that we have not talked about yet.
I know, but that's where we are at this point, and it's just, I feel the need to basically say, there is no point to what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
It's so unnecessary, and it really was only introduced to get this to an hour and a half, and it was like, maybe you could have gotten to an hour and a half better if you had done some, I don't know, characterization. That's an idea.
That's what I was thinking. Something to develop the relationship between Amy and Jess,
or Amy and her father,
and Jim,
Jess and her father. Anything. Those are such rich. Those were so ripe for characterization and explanation and depth, and we just said, fuck that. Let's just throw in some other plot points that are completely worthless.
And as Sean just mentioned, this is pretty much just what happens in this. They sneak past him with the help of the other mannequins, and then on the way to school, Nick gets very excited to be looking at Christmas decorations and the chance to get to play Santa Claus, and then he's hit by a fucking car and then broken into pieces, and then the guy gets out of the car, he's freaking out, he's like, oh, it's just a mannequin. This girl Jess just watched this guy that she knew was alive just get shattered.
Oh yeah.
We don't talk about that. No. Here's what we do. We move on to the weirdest fucking scene in the entire movie.
It really is. I'm so glad we're about to talk about this. It's the weirdest, but it's my favorite because it's fucking creepy.
So here's what happens. Amy, I don't know how the hell she was able to do this, uses some magic that she has, I guess, to awaken some of the, there's these Christmas decorations outside. She awakens some of the decorations, including 3 elves, some carolers, and they all get together in a circle and perform this weird-ass ritual, and then they just put fucking Nick back together.
It was so, and the music switched to become so spooky and ominous. It was like... Why did we do, so many questions here. First off, has fucking Amy had this power the whole time, and we're just deciding to introduce this halfway in the film?
You never see it again.
Yeah, exactly. She all of a sudden she can touch mannequins and bring them to life, and then she never has this power again. Why in God's name did we introduce this all of a sudden? It was so pointless and so random and weird. And then the choice to the fact to put him back together, fine. Bring some elves and make it kind of a happy little thing of, oh, we all knew this would be fine because this is just the way mannequins work. But instead it's no, this is a very serious moment.
It's a very creepy scene.
Everyone, and they all hold hands. They all get in a circle and hold hands, and the music gets super ominous, and it's very fucking witchcrafty. It's so weird. It's like they're holding a seance to bring Santa back to life.
I even put, it's a weird mannequin voodoo ritual. That's literally what I put in my notes.
It's so unnecessary and so out of place. Because here we have this mannequin Nutcracker Christmas story, and all of a sudden it's hey, why not some Halloween?
Why not some Halloween? Just sprinkle it in there.
Sprinkle in some Halloween. We've introduced every other fucking plot line. Why not the craft? Fuck it.
And then the decorations after this, they just go back to their respective places, but then Nick wakes up and is somehow more Santa-like?
Well, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
It was part of the ritual, didn't you
Also,
see?
if you watch the fucking movie, if you go and you see these decorations, you can tell that they're alive before they even come to life. It's like they didn't want to spend too much money making decorations. You can see like the elves like looking around. It's pretty creepy. But then they get Nick to the school and the Christmas Poetry Slam 5000 starts.
Yeah.
Each kid recites a poem, and then Jessica at first puts a bee rabbit from you know what I'm talking about. 8 Mile. Where she just
Sadly,
chokes.
I fucking do.
And then she messes up, and then with some prodding from Nick, she gives the most epic poem reading I've ever seen since So I Married an Axe Murder. It is like she puts way too much emphasis on this, and she actually does a good job of acting this out. Where the fuck was this earlier when she was being melodramatic? I don't know.
Okay, so going back to the Santa real quick, I had a note in here, and I have to ask you about this. Do you remember Barry Gordon's The Last Dragon?
Yes.
Okay.
Shonuff, the Shogun.
Right. So, do you remember the scene where, like, Bruce Leroy starts fucking glowing?
Yeah, the glow.
He gets the glow. Swear to God, when they brought Santa back to life in that fucking weird-ass witch's coven circle, and he starts glowing, I was just waiting for Barry Gordon to come on. When you got that glow, you feel control when you got that glow. I was like, he's gonna fucking he's gonna fight Shonuff now. That's clearly where this is going, because there's no fucking point to anything happening in this movie at this point. He might as well fight down the Shonuff of Harlem.
So now Jim, who is in the audience, actually takes pictures of Jess. Finally takes real pictures of her, and then Amy and Jim spend some quality time by the fire back at home. They discuss life, and then they end up kissing, which doesn't make any sense, because they've never really built up a relationship between the two.
Because why not?
Amy tells Jim that this is confusing, and then Jim tells her that it's also the simplest thing, which doesn't make any sense. And then Jim kisses her again.
I mean, that's what he's just trying to move the conversation along. Yeah. Like this is the one place where it's like, yeah, this is literally how this character would have acted in the 90s. He's just being a creepy, rich tech guy.
She's like, I'm only 8 years old, but baby, it's cold outside. I only know you a day, baby, it's cold outside. No, you fucking didn't. And then, like I said, Jim kisses her again and then goes to sit by the fire, and then she runs up to him and gives him a kiss. But Amy, she's obviously happy about this kiss, but I think she's just really confused, but then saddened because she knows her time is coming to an end. And Jess and her talk about how she has feelings for someone, and Jess is like, it's my dad, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the weirdest. This is probably like the most uncomfortable I was in the whole film. Like, there were so many uncomfortable points in this film. This is where I was the most uncomfortable, because I literally watched this scene play out, and I thought to myself, oh my God, this adult woman is asking this child to give her the sex talk.
Yeah.
That's literally what's happening here. She's asking her, how does sex work? And it's like, what the fuck? This is so creepy and weird. Why in God's name would you include this? I understand
she's asking for help,
and
it doesn't make any sense.
It's like, I get that you had 90 minutes to fill, but you couldn't have found anything else to do here. But fucking bring Morelli's dipshit ass back. I don't care. Something. This is fucking weird.
But also on this part that she does, it really harkens to the fact that, hey, I only have 2 days left. I guess this is where they're trying to create urgency in the scene.
I did realize that. They finally are starting to establish some urgency. But it's still weird. Because, I don't know, and I know you're about to get into it a little bit, but here's what's about to happen. They're going to try to create some urgency, and we're going to build some urgency, and then we're going to have a Morelli thing happen, and then we're just going to stop the urgency and put a pause on it to have a Christmas at home. I was so irritated by that. It was like, it was so staggered inappropriately, and it made no sense to do it that way.
Yeah, because like Sean just said, what happens is that Jess goes to the mall, she pleads with Philomena to make Amy stay real forever. Philomena says that there's a chance that she can stay, but there's very little hope. But she doesn't say how the fuck they're gonna make her stay, besides just holding on to her really tight.
Yeah, exactly. She gives her no like tangible instruction on how this could happen. Like, even within a mystical world of your heart has to be pure, something like that would, that we would expect to see. Or if your love for her is pure, it'll happen, but it's very rare. No, instead it's just, you have to hold on tight. Like,
hold on tight. We'll see what the fuck
does that
happens.
mean?
And she says she'll meet them an hour before she's supposed to revert to try and help her by holding on to her what amounts to just fucking best wishes. That's it. Now, Morelli grabs Jess and Amy and interrogates them about the missing clothes and jewelry. And Amy tells Morelli that the store was paid back for what she was taking because she's been paying them. So there really isn't any theft.
Who were you before you turned up at Milliman's at the beginning of the holidays, huh? And don't play dummy with me.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You gotta give it up for the puns like that. It's the one saving grace in this fucking film.
She explains that the car was taken out by the chauffeur Wilkins, who is a mannequin, and that she is one too. She just lays it on the line. Now, Morelli is about to lay into her, but Morelli is told that he has to let them go because there isn't enough evidence.
Because that's how those types of things work. It's all about evidence, and yeah, because this is such a deep investigation. We're missing a whole line. We're missing a whole outfit. We gotta press charges.
Now, back at home, Amy, Jim, and Jess are opening presents. Like you said, they're now having a Christmas moment. And Jim gives Amy luggage, and then after marveling about how expensive it is, because she's freaking out, she's like, I've seen the price tag. I know how much this is, blah, 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 blah. She also sees plane tickets, and Jim asks her to go to Hawaii with him and Jess, and that he appreciates everything that she's done, because like a good house sitter or house guest, whatever, they're just going to go off to Hawaii. She tells him that she is out of time and she can't go. She kisses him and then runs off. And then Jess tells Jim that she's just tired and that she is too before going off to see Amy. So this scene doesn't make any fucking sense.
It really did. So here's what I wrote down. This is the way. So Morelli brings the girls in for the interrogation, which should have been the penultimate scene, leading up to what you're about to discuss, which is the final ultimate scene and the climax of the story, right? Instead, we got two separate climaxes. The Morelli climax and then the, possibly going to be losing her ability to be alive on Christmas Eve climax. They should have combined this. The way it should have worked, and I actually wrote this down. If I had written this, we would have had Morelli brings the girls in for interrogation, which should have been the penultimate scene leading us to a time-sensitive climax. But instead, we simply resolve it and slow the action back down to have the Christmas at the house, like you said. I would have moved the Christmas present scene right after the Dad-Amy kiss, then had them go to the store to try to keep Amy alive, only to be thwarted by Morelli, leaving Amy locked in interrogation, almost missing the window to stay alive, arriving just in time to, again, not survive, and then, it's going to end the way that we're going to discuss. That's how I would have played this out. Combine those two things so you have one big ultimate climax that includes Morelli. But I know exactly why they didn't do it this way. Because the reason is because, and I don't know if you noticed this, who is the villain in the story? Time. They wanted the villain to be metaphysical. They didn't want to have Morelli be a villain. They wanted it, you could tell. Yeah. They wanted him to be a slapstick character. He just played it too fucking serious.
He wasn't supposed to be. He was supposed to be like the throwaway villains that are just like they're kind of a nuisance.
Exactly.
Yeah, just not really. It doesn't really matter.
Exactly. They didn't. That was the problem with this film. They didn't want an actual villain. They wanted everybody to be, because even at the very end, that little scene between Philomena and Morelli that we'll probably discuss at the very end here, that was a very clear indication that they still wanted Morelli to be this redeemable, fun, non-villainous character. And in doing so, what we did was we got this choppy double climax nonsense that made no sense.
They wanted him to be the next door neighbor in like any other movie out there that is kind of mean, but then they still play pranks on him, but then it's still a fun relationship, and they reconcile at the end.
He's Mr. Wilson. He's Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace. That's exactly what he is. He's kind of a gruff, but still a lovable character. And if they had simply just allowed themselves to let him be somewhat villainous, almost with kind of an almost evil intent of so desperate in his, and he didn't even have to necessarily make him a villain, just make him so desperate in his desire to, fulfill this Christmas mission of figuring out who this was for whatever reason, whatever background story you want to give him that makes him so obsessed with finding the theft of this one outfit. You do that, you combine it with her, him inadvertently almost keeping her from the window to stay alive for longer than she's supposed to. But we don't. Instead, we get this mess.
You also get a character that doesn't truly matter because this ending scene goes so quick.
It really does. Like, just the way it starts off. Like, what did you think about that?
It starts off with Amy dressed up, ready to go, because she's just accepting the fact that she's...
Her room above the garage, right?
Yeah, she's just accepting the fact that she's going to be leaving. Right. And then Jess comes and hugs her.
And that's what... This scene kills me. The entire movie was trying so hard to stay so uncommitted and so light and keep everything very happy and joyous. And then we got existential as fuck in this scene.
Because at the end, we get Philomena, who's trying to get there. This is where you get the time. And Philomena's trying to get there, but she's caught in traffic, so she can't make it. But then something, and it doesn't really say what. It just says that she's being called back. Yeah, she's getting pulled back. I'm assuming it's the mall that's calling her. I'm not exactly sure.
I mean, I was willing to kind of like say, okay, there's some force pulling her back because she, you know,
she's a mannequin. She has to go back to where to go.
But then why wasn't that same force pulling Wilkins when he was clearly starting to turn back before they had arrived back?
Like, maybe Wilkins is just weird.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Wilkins is above it all. I don't know.
But anyway, like, they just move forward, and then it's like Amy's pulled towards it, and she just starts walking out of the house towards the mall. It's not like she's being dragged there. She just flat up just walks away. And then Jess tells Jim that they have to go stop her, and then Morelli sees Amy on the camera when she gets to the mall, and then he goes to stop her, and then Jim and Jess get to the mall, and they're desperately trying to find Amy. But then you get Wilkins ends up stopping Morelli, which is funny because he like wakes up and shows Morelli that he's alive, and then Morelli passes out. And then now you get the ending scene where Jess sees that Amy is now a mannequin because they couldn't stop her. But then she's pleading with Jim to help hold on to Amy. And this is where it should be done. Like, she's already a mannequin. That's it. Or they should at least been in that halfway.
Well, I don't know. Based off the the flow of the film, that would have been a very dark ending, where just like she just ends and she stays a mannequin.
Well, this is what I don't get. She is a mannequin, and then this happens where they like hold on to her, but then the mannequin doesn't come to life. Amy's spirit comes back and is like its own separate entity, but she was the mannequin the entire time. So what's really going on here?
Right.
I would have seen like, okay, well, she's a mannequin, she stays a mannequin, but then they're able to like bring the mannequin back to life. That's what I understand. Why is she now a separate being?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't catch on to that at all. Like, I caught on to the fact that she became like this separate entity, but I guess I didn't analyze that a lot. The part that I analyzed was more of the story, because it bothered me. So, as you mentioned, the thing that quote-unquote brought her spirit out of the mannequin and allowed them all to live happily fucking ever after, whatever. Jessica is holding on to Amy, and she's, pleading and pleading and pleading with whatever forces there are.
And then pleading with her dad as well.
Then she pleads with her dad. And it isn't until the dad accepts and joins in that Amy is brought back, right? That bothered me. This story is called A Mom for Christmas. It's not called A Mom and a Wife for Christmas. It's not called A Family for Christmas. It's called A Mom for Christmas. The plot was supposed to be about a young girl struggling with the strained relationship with her father and the fact that she had lost her mother and desperately needing someone to fill that role in her life. The power should have been Jessica's alone. It never should have included the father. The father should have just been somewhat happy and filled with magical awe when Amy came back because of Jessica's ability to bring her. But instead, we got this awful thing of, well, now Jim needs to be a part of this. Well, fuck you.
Well, when you have this scene, too, it also kind of is another slap in the face whenever they bring another Amy back. Because the whole thing was that he's holding on to this mannequin because Jess is pleading with him to believe that she was the mannequin. Now he sees Amy walk back over while he's holding on to this mannequin.
So his
what the hell was he supposed to be doing to begin with?
And that kind of dismisses his magical belief. Like, for a minute, if she had come back to life, that would have filled him with more of that Christmas magic of Jim's character. But instead, he just sees her over there like, oh, why the fuck
am I holding this mannequin?
Yeah, why am I holding this thing?
His face.
Yeah. So it's like he was never needed. Like, he was both needed and not needed. I hated his introduction to this scene. If I was writing this final scene, here's what I would have done. Same exact thing. Have her hold on to the mannequin. Do exactly what you said. Have the fucking mannequin turn back into her. Forget all this stupid nonsense with her spirit somehow, like, no longer being attached to the mannequin or something. It's nonsense. There was no previous plot points to give us that. That was never part of it. It was, she is the mannequin. Just allow her to exist as no longer being a mannequin.
Exactly.
But I never would have involved Jim. Jim would have been off to the side, just sort of looking at his daughter, thinking, you poor girl. I'm so sorry. I wish I could help you. I'm your father. I want to be able to, or have him hold on to her, right? like almost maybe helping her with magic, not being a part of it, something, but he's not part of this. Instead, it's simply Jessica's pleas, her magical heart that helped bring Amy to life in the first place is so powerful, and the bond became so strong that then Amy comes back to life as the mannequin. The mannequin itself comes to life, thus, giving the father sort of this magical awakening as well, so they can all be part of the magic. Instead, like you said, we get Jim somehow having to be a part of this, yet getting to be dismissed from the magic and kind of being like, what the fuck, she's over there.
Yeah, why are we holding this?
Why are we holding this piece of plastic? But it just, yeah, I was so... I liked the scene. It was touching. It was a nice ending for what this movie was. But at the end of the day, I was so disappointed in how well this could have been done, and they just didn't.
Because, I mean, the next thing that we see, they could have just ended it right there and been done, but then they have to do additional stuff where they all embrace, and then Philomena wakes Morelli up, and then Wilkins laughs, and blah, blah, blah. And then they leave, and Amy tells all the mannequins good luck, and they're all wishing her good luck. They could have just done away with that. I don't understand why they did that.
That part was a little weird, too, and it wasn't like they were coming to life and saying good luck. You just heard the good lucks. Yeah, that was all. That's where it became very Twilight Zone for me, because I think it was Just in Time. The Twilight Zone episode basically is this woman is walking around and she's just kind of, shopping and doing things, and she keeps noticing these ominous figures are following her, and she gets very freaked out. The way the episode ends is we come to find out this woman was actually a mannequin all along, and she was supposed to have returned, and she kind of forgot who she was. And the other mannequins in the end kind of explain, this happens from time to time, it's no big deal, but she's happy to be back in the store. That's where I got that, was that this whole, weird ending of them all saying good luck and wishing her all well was very Twilight Zone-y. Like, why did we do this? This was very odd. There was no need for this. It's like we were trying to bring out one last horror element after that fucking weird satanic circle that we did in the middle of the fucking film to bring Santa back to life.
But Sean, at the end of the day, Jess got what she wanted for Christmas. A mom.
Oh, that was
the Olivia Newton John song should be playing right now.
So deep.
So, at the end of the day, it's not the best movie in the world.
That's putting it lightly. Burnt fucking toast.
That's all I'm going to say. That's
burnt
all,
fucking toast.
That is literally my summary of this. Is it's not the best movie in the world. It's fun. It's got Olivia Newton John. I would recommend you at least see it.
I don't.
It's goofy.
I do not.
It is goofy.
I am so often the person that will say, even for a movie that's not a good movie that I thought was entertaining, like The Wizard, right? Remember we talked about The Wizard?
Yeah.
It's not a good movie. I was entertained by it, and I say, hey, for a little 90s nostalgia, if you want some 90s nostalgia of, the old Nintendo, go ahead, watch The Wizard. It'll be fun. I will unequivocally say, don't watch this movie. Don't do this to yourself. Don't waste your time. There are so many better Christmas films. There are so many better magic films, mannequin films. Like, anything you could get from this film, you can get from another film 10 times better. You want mannequins? Watch Mannequin. You want magical things happening in kind of a box coming to life? Watch The Nutcracker. You want satanic circles? Watch fucking Practical Magic. There are so many other movies you could watch to get the same thing out of this. You want Christmas magic? Watch the fucking Santa Claus.
But Sean, they could watch this movie and get it all.
No, they will watch this movie and they will hate movies for the rest of their lives. So I have 3 unanswered questions, AJ.
What?
And we discussed all of them, but I want to reiterate my 3 unanswered questions. 1, what or who exactly was Philomena?
I think she was either a fairy or a witch, one of the two.
All right.
With the satanic voodoo ritual, I'm assuming a witch.
2.
Which, I have to say.
All right, go on.
Witches are not inherently satanic, I should say.
Oh, no, that's a very good point. I said satanic circle. It's not. It was very much a Covenant circle. There was nothing inherently evil about it. The quote unquote evilness of it was more of its out of placeness of the Christmas. It's juxtaposition against Christmas.
Odd.
If that same scene in Practical Magic didn't feel evil, it felt heroic. When they all get in the circle to cast the the evil spirit out of the sister
Yeah.
in Practical Magic. That felt heroic. In this movie, because it's juxtaposed against all of the Christmas magic, it felt evil. It felt like something ominous and strange.
It gives me the A21 film, or A24.
A24.
A24 film, The Witch.
Yes.
That's what it gives.
Exactly, yes.
That kind of witch.
Where it's like, it's not evil because it's a witch. It's just, it happens to be witchy adjacent, and there's definitely something evil about it. Question 2. Do we think the dad fucked the mannequin?
Like after Amy came back?
At any point, did the dad fuck the mannequin?
At the end of the movie, yes, for sure.
Okay, so he for sure was a plastic fucker.
Yes.
All right.
We don't kink shame here, though.
I didn't say king shame. I'm just saying, man's a plastic fucker. All right, that's what happened. It is what it is. And finally, does the redhead kid ever get kicked in the dick?
Well, I mean, kind of. He got metaphorically kicked in the dick at the Poetry Slam 5000 because
Poetry Slam 5000. God.
I'm just saying, like, whenever she stomps all over him and she gives her elaborate poem reading that seems to be just ridiculously acting out, I think he was metaphorically kicked in the dick.
I don't see it, but
I don't see it.
I appreciate your perspective. So, AJ, I think I've mentioned several times, to me, this was burnt fucking toast. Do not eat, throw away immediately. What was this for you?
To me, I gotta say that it is scorched toast. But you could still scrape some of it off, put a little bit of butter on the top, as long as you go into it realizing that you could have had better toast. I'm just saying.
And AJ, I know you already mentioned it, but remind us again, where can we watch this film?
YouTube. I mean, I guess you can find it on DVD somewhere, but YouTube.
Oh, God. Can you imagine?
It is completely free.
Didn't you say that it was like a Disney Club exclusive DVD?
Yeah.
So if you find this on DVD, it might actually be worth a little bit. I don't know. I didn't look it up on eBay or anything. Hold on.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I got it. I got eBay downloaded because I'm old.
You can buy it for $13.95 on Amazon. It is $39.99.
Wow,
it's $40.
That doesn't surprise
Amazon.
me. I mean, if it was a Disney Club exclusive, there's probably not a lot of copies out there, and it's not like they're chugging out more copies of this thing.
And it looks like that you're gonna have to. Yeah, that's about it.
So,
it's not. Yeah,
$40 or YouTube free on YouTube. That's it.
I mean, I know which one I'm gonna choose.
Well, our music is created by Augusto Denise, logo by Design World, social media by the future Mrs. Poetry Slam 5000, mixing and editing by IPTT Studios, and special thanks to our studio dog, Joe the Boxer.
And we want to hear from you in your own slice of toast. Tell us about the films you think we and others should see, actors to showcase, or topics to discuss. You can reach us on Instagram at IPTT_podcast, email us at IPTTpodcast@gmail.com, or interact with us directly through the Spotify app.
And if you ever find yourself forced to listen to more than one Olivia Newton John song in a single sitting, remember,
You can always get more toast.
thanks for listening.